Welcome back to the weekly chat, everyone. Oh my Not a fan. I don't know why my fiance likes this little elf tradition. It's staring at me. We're just going to pretend none of that happened, everybody. Welcome back to the weekly chat. I've got one thing on my mind. Aside from the fact that that thing could kill me in any second. I have my eyes on it. It's okay. I got my small soldiers to protect me. Chip Hazard, you got my back, right? Gorgonites will get me if you don't. Everybody, one thing's on my mind. One big thing. I like to start projects, and apparently I like to never finish them too. One of the biggest commitments that I've managed to keep up with is returning to YouTube. I mean, it's been over a year, and I've managed to do a weekly video every Friday for over a year, well over a year at this point. I'm pretty proud of myself on that. Even at times where I'm recording at 1 a.m. and doing it in a single take so that editing is minimal. The fact of the matter is, I'm still doing it. And that is really cool. But aside from that, I don't get a lot of stuff done. I've got a 1/3 of the way finished Lego Atari 2600 that I got for Christmas in 2023. Oh my God. The Christmas tree is up again because Christmas is just like 3 weeks away. And it's a third of the way done. It's sad. It's sad. I started to write a book. It's been years and I've not yet finished it. I've started multiple board games and card games. I've gotten to the playtesting phase of a couple things, but never really finished it. But now I am working on a board game that I am so unbelievably excited about. I have gotten a lot done. I've gotten the entire board finished. It's over 80 tiles, hexagon tiles, in order to form this board. And it's a randomized board, kind of like in Catan. But the fact of the matter is a totally different game. I don't think it's like the most unique concept in the world, but I'm happy. None of you asked, but I'm happy to go through some details with you. So, this is a MOBA style board game. If you don't know what MOBA is, wow, if you don't know what MOBA is, think League of Legends, Dota 2, others I'm sure exist. That is the kind of game that you're looking at. That's the video games. This is the board style version of that. So this is a tabletop rendition of that game. The team amounts are going to vary. I don't know quite what I'm going to get to. At most, it's going to be 5v5. Don't get me wrong. I understand how hard it is to find a total of 10 people to play a single board game these days. No one's got time for that. With the internet and TikTok and all that jazz around, no one's got the time for that. So it will accommodate less people. I'm thinking it could go as low as 1v1, although it's not really what I'm looking for. So I might make it 2v2. Some of these things are not finalized. That's just how it is. And that's the beauty of making the board game. You are refining the rules as you go along. And speaking of rules, a lot of it is customizable, you know? So the thing that goes beyond this game are the characters that you make, because you make your own characters. Kind of inspired with D&D-esque type things, but a lot more simplified. You're not giving backstories or anything like that. And this is coming from somebody that's never actually played D&D, so maybe it's nothing like character creation in D&D. But you make a character, you accumulate gear over time that you keep, and it carries outside of that game. So instead of you playing the game and then the game is done, you have the characters to use for the future, and you can make multiple characters and so on and so forth. And those characters, if I ever get to it, maybe I'm being a little too ambitious here, will also be usable in other board games that I plan on making. This one is a MOBA style board game. Team tactics, you go across the board and try to destroy the opponent's tower. Another one that I want to do is a cooperative setup where it is everyone together against the board. And then the last one that I want to do is a sort of free-for-all thing Or maybe it isn't even combat oriented at all. I am unsure. But the point is your character's progress saves. So your character levels up outside of the game. When the match ends, you're awarded experience points based on various factors that I haven't quite finalized yet. So you level up outside of the game. You level up inside of the board game itself through like temporary levels and stuff like that. And you win gear. And through that gear, you're able to customize your person. You can choose melee, you can choose range, and you can choose magic. And there's a lot of customization. And there's a few things incorporated into it that pertain to the book that I've been very slowly writing. So if you're one of the 2 people in the world that's kept yourselves hooked onto that, hoping that maybe you'll get some details down the road, you get little snippets in this board game and the other board games too, through just the gear names, gear descriptions, all that jazz. But much like with MOBAs as well, there are NPCs and things like that you can go and fight in order to earn experience points during the match. There's like a little bit of stuff to do. There's a roamer who I think I'm going to make them insanely powerful so that it's a challenge to conquer them. If you do, I think the general idea would be to avoid them because they're always hostile and they are incredibly powerful. But maybe you get a very good reward if you beat them. Haven't finalized all that yet. And then on either side of the map, on the west end and the east end, there are NPC spawn points. Some of the NPCs will spawn and they'll stay there. Some NPCs that spawn on those tiles will be set to roam as well. When they roam, every single turn, they just start moving across the board, so on and so forth, while other ones spawn in that spot. So it leaves the possibility of a whole bunch of NPCs cascading into spawning and then just kind of taking over the board a little bit. It's going to be a neat concept. A lot of it's going to be pretty randomized so that you'll get a different experience every time. And although you can work on gear setups and stuff like that going in to try and optimize what you're going to be doing, the fact of the matter is it's set so that there's always going to be some curveballs. And I also have it set up so that you have the ability to tame non-sentient NPCs and recruit sentient NPCs through charisma checks and tamer checks. And with those two, you gain some allies as well. So you have extra options. If you run into an NPC, you don't always just have to fight it. You can choose to try and make it into an ally. So a lot of options there. I am so excited to make this game. I've been working on it for quite a bit. The gear pool that I've been making has so much to it. It has so much, in fact, that I actually decided to scrap the initial loot system idea and decide to try and make a more simplified version. That way I don't have to create a stack this big of just each individual gear piece, and instead make it a more user-friendly experience through a simple pool. So there's different tiers of gear. There's like different power levels for them. And I hope that some people find this interesting. I'm kind of going crazy with the direction that I'm like describing everything in. So it's just kind of throwing random information at you. And I do apologize for that. But anyway, back to it. When you go and claim a loot, you'll draw from like the top of the stack. And instead of it telling you the piece of gear that you're going to get, it's going to tell you the power level that you're going to be able to claim from. And then you're going to roll a d6 because there are 6 different types of gear. And depending on what you roll on, you get to choose from that pool the power level that you are able to draw, and you get to choose. So instead of having to grind to get high tier stuff and then end up getting random high tier stuff and maybe stuff that you don't want, you can get it a lot faster, because that's what's important. Because at the end of the day too, if I ever decide to publish this game for whatever reason, if people find an interest in it, it's going to be like an honor system thing, because you could make a character and you could pretend that you have all the highest tier gear and you're an insanely high level. And who could tell you that you don't? Like it's up to you, and it's up to having fun. And that's a good chunk of it too. So if you are just starting out and you decide, hey, let's get a team together and let's have everybody pick whatever gear they want instead of the gear that they have, it's your choice. You can do it. You can do whatever the heck you want with it. It is all up to you. And that's where the rules get to take a bit of a sideline, because it's going to be made with that open-ended aspect to it where you have the freedom to do what you want. You want to do a 1v5 game because you have an insanely over-leveled character that you never get to use anymore because all your friends have barely played the game, and so all of them are very under-leveled compared to you. Fine. Do a 1v5 game. See if you could beat them. The choice is entirely yours, and I'm so excited. I think it's going to be great. And honestly, if I did publish it, I don't need a ton of artwork made or anything like that either. Could be a simple concept. I don't know. But what do you guys think? Do you guys have ideas? Have you played board games like this? I'm genuinely curious. I've looked it up and I found one or two that have vaguely similar concepts, but they're still completely different in the way that they're done. I think I got something kind of unique. So that's trademarked, copywritten, whatever. It's my intellectual property. Deal with it, nerds. Please don't take my idea. I beg of you. But anyway, let me know what you guys think and check out this video here. It's funny. And I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.